What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Sunday, May 5th, 2024, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 23:42 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you guys on the situation in the Middle East and Eastern Europe. So, we have a lot of big things about to go down in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East. We have Israel just hours or days away from starting their operation in Rafah, which would basically conclude their operation in the Gaza Strip, and they would completely eliminate Hamas from the Gaza Strip once they finish this operation in Rafah. We also have this massive Russian offensive in Ukraine about to begin, and that could start any day now, any week. And we also have the possibility of Russia and Belarus opening up another front for NATO in the Baltics. So we have to keep an eye on these three areas over the next few weeks. And I do believe that when Israel goes into Rafah, we're going to see the Muslim world go crazy. I think we're going to see terror attacks here in the U.S. I think we're going to see attacks on U.S. bases in the Middle East. So we have to be on high alert this coming summer. So I want to just update you guys on the situation in Israel. So multiple sources are now confirming that peace talks with Hamas have completely failed and that Israel will begin their operation in Rafah very soon, okay? And the CIA director, William Burns, is expected to visit Israel tomorrow on Monday and meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu. So I don't think that Israel is going to start their operation on Rafah until William Burns visits Israel tomorrow. I think they will start after William Burns leaves Israel. And Israel will continue to defend her security and fight her enemies, even if she remains alone, and no pressure or decision in any international forum will prevent this. That's what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said this weekend. Very strong words from Netanyahu. And universities around the U.S. have started suspending students who participated in the pro-Hamas riots over the last few weeks. And the Russian Ministry of Defense has confirmed that they completely control the town of Acheretne, which is right outside of Avdiivka. And Acheretne is a critical logistics hub that Ukraine was using when they were fighting Russian forces on the outskirts of Donetsk. So let me just show you on this map here all the gains that Russia has made just in the last few days, guys. Okay, so Russia has been pushing through this area here. This is Acheretne, and the Ukrainians were holding it for a very long time, and they couldn't hold it anymore. Here's Avdiivka, just to the north of the Donetsk airport. And so the Russians appear to have broken through in this area. And I want to remind you guys that Russia still has not actually started their offensive yet, and they're still making gains. Okay, they're still breaking through in multiple areas here. They're gaining across the entire front line, some areas more than other areas, but they're basically either holding the line or they're making gains. Okay, Ukraine is not gaining anything now. They're just losing. Okay, they can't even defend what they have. Okay, so this is a very serious situation for Ukraine right now, and Russia is going to capitalize on the weak position that Ukraine is in right now. They're depleted. They don't have equipment. They don't have ammunition. They don't have men. Okay, and Russia wants to take advantage of that before the Western weapons start to flow into Ukraine again. Okay, so Russia's going to make their big push this year, this summer, before that Western equipment makes its way to Ukraine, and also before possibly Donald Trump becomes president, because I think Putin is scared of Trump. That's why, if you notice, Putin invaded Ukraine as soon as Biden became president. Literally a year after Biden became president, he decided to invade Ukraine. Okay, but during the Trump presidency, Putin did not invade Ukraine. And I think it's because he was afraid of Trump. Okay, so Putin, he's not stupid. He knows that he's in a good position right now. He's got a window of opportunity. He knows that our president is old and, is not fully coherent many times. And now's his chance to make big gains in not just Ukraine, but I think also Russia will test NATO for the first time by attacking the Baltics. I think that's going to happen this year. I think that's going to open up another front for NATO. NATO's going to have to deal with that situation, and they're going to be spread thin between the Baltics and Ukraine. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1 month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1 month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store, and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there. And then you have Israel, and then you have Asia. So I do believe that Belarus and Russia will open up a front in the Baltics very, very soon. I think they're going to potentially invade Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. They may not go all the way to the capitals or try to occupy the entire Baltic countries, but even if they invade and, let's say, capture 10 or 20 miles of territory, that's enough to cause panic in NATO. And then while NATO's figuring out what to do with that, then Russia's going to make their big push in Ukraine and try to make massive gains. But a lot of the experts that I'm listening to, various types of retired generals from Eastern European countries, are saying that Russia will try to push through the front lines in 3 main areas, possibly 4. They're talking about the Russians coming down through Sumy and then going all the way down to Poltava and trying to reach the Dnieper River that way. They're also talking about potentially an attack on Kharkiv, either by surrounding Kharkiv or shelling it constantly to make Kharkiv unlivable for the Ukrainians by just constantly pounding it with artillery, or potentially surrounding it and doing a siege. And then the other area that the Russians are going to try to make a breakthrough is in Zaporizhia in southern Ukraine. They're going to try to push that front line further north. So this way Crimea is out of HIMARS range, and it's going to make it harder for the Ukrainians to launch HIMARS strikes, ATACMS on the Crimean Bridge and various strategic targets in Crimea. And then potentially also Donetsk. The Russians are definitely going to want to push the front line away from Donetsk as far as they can, but they are making massive gains here just to the north of the Donetsk airport. Let me just show you guys just over the weekend how much territory they captured. So I'm going to go back in time Okay, this was yesterday, day before that, day before that, and day before that, and then day before that. Okay, so just massive gains here, and they're not even officially on the offensive. This is what's known as active defense. The Russians are still just in defensive mode, trying to hold this whole line, and then they're attacking in areas that they see weakness. Okay, so wait until Russia masses thousands and thousands of troops, let's say right here. I mean, there's not going to be any way Ukraine is going to be able to stop them, and they don't have hardly any defensive lines here. And so they're just going to keep going and going until they reach the river here, the Dnieper River, which I think is Putin's goal, is to push these lines all the way to the Dnieper River and capture the entire eastern half of Ukraine up to the Dnieper River, which will create a natural barrier for Putin, and it'll make it a lot harder for the Ukrainians to take back any territory. And satellite imagery over northwest Crimea is showing damage to a site that was previously used for storage of Iskander ballistic missiles. So it looks like Ukraine used the ATACMS to hit an Iskander missile storage site in Crimea. Very impressive work by the Ukrainians. And Russian forces launched a massive drone attack in the Sumy Oblast overnight last night, targeting the Sumy region energy infrastructure. Okay, so that could be preparations for this big push from Russia. They're preparing the battlefield before they go into Sumy by taking the power out first. They already took the radio tower down in Kharkiv. They hit it with a missile 2 weeks ago. And Ukraine will look to launch a counteroffensive in 2025 with the support of the approved $61 billion aid package. And France estimates that 150,000 Russian troops have been killed since the start of the war. Russian glide bomb attacks have injured 15 people in downtown Kharkiv yesterday and today. And the German defense contractor Rheinmetall is apparently going to be transferring hundreds of thousands of artillery shells to Ukraine this year, including prototypes of an artillery shell that has a range of up to 100 kilometers or 60 miles. That is insane, guys. And that's coming from the CEO of Rheinmetall, Armin Paperger. Okay, so the CEO of Rheinmetall confirming that they're going to be transferring hundreds of thousands of artillery shells to Ukraine, including prototypes of a new shell that has a range of 60 miles. That will make a huge difference, especially if they get that type of artillery in sufficient quantities. They can really do a lot of damage to the Russian forces. But the key is quantities. Okay, a few 100,000 is a great start, but Ukraine needs 5 to 10 million shells right now. Okay, they needed these shells yesterday. Okay, so a few 100,000, great start, but really for them to make a difference, they're going to need like 5 to 10 million shells. But those longer range shells are definitely going to have a huge effect on the battlefield. And Ukraine's military intelligence has confirmed that there was a car bomb attack that killed a Russian organizer of torture chambers in occupied Ukraine in the city of Berdyansk. So, pretty interesting. Looks like God punished this guy. He was some type of a torture guy. You know, he tortured people in occupied Ukraine, a Russian torturer. Okay, and he met his fate: live by the gun, die by the gun. And China wants to work with France and the rest of the international community to end the war in Ukraine. Chinese President Xi Jinping reportedly told French media outlet Le Figaro today. And due to TNT shortages in Europe, Finland is going to start quickly building new plants to accumulate large quantities of TNT. Okay, very interesting. And I want to remind you guys that Latvia has started digging anti tank trenches along its border with Russia. and Latvia is moving forward with legal amendments that would allow for foreigners to serve in the Latvian military. Okay, so that is a huge sign that Latvia is preparing for war with Russia. Okay, they're digging trenches along their border with Russia and moving forward with legal amendments that would allow foreigners to serve in their military. Okay, very concerning news, guys. And the Islamic resistance in Iraq, an Iranian proxy, has claimed responsibility tonight for hitting an Israeli military airbase in the port city of Eilat. Very interesting. And I want to just show you guys an interesting flight path here. This is a US RQ-4 Global Hawk reconnaissance drone that flew over Israel, and it was flying with its transponder off, but it turned its transponder on when it left Israeli airspace, and then it went back to Sigonella. So US assets are in the region, and I do believe that the US is helping Israel collect information on Hamas militants for the upcoming Rafah operation. And here we have some interesting video footage coming out of Iran. And what it shows is a propaganda billboard that was set on fire by Iranian youth who are against the Ayatollah Khamenei and the current government in Iran. And you can see this billboard has Iranian missiles. It shows like a missile field with the missiles erected and ready to fire. And they set fire to the entire billboard. So this just shows you guys that there are people inside of these countries that don't like their governments. There's people in Iran, in China, in North Korea, maybe not North Korea, but I know for sure China, Iran, and Russia. There are people in those countries that do not like, Putin or Khomeini or Xi Jinping. Okay. And in 2009, we had an opportunity to overthrow the Iranian government. I don't know if you guys remember, there were a bunch of riots and protests in Iran back then, and Obama was president, and Obama did not want to help those protesters or rioters to overthrow the government there. And we had a huge opportunity that we could have taken advantage of, and we did not, because Obama was on his world apology tour and he wanted America to stop being the world's policeman. And he promised his voters that, oh, we're not going to get involved in anything anymore overseas. And, who knows if we would have supported those protesters, maybe all this nonsense with Iran that's happening right now would have never happened, because they might have had a different government. Maybe they would have been more like a Western friendly country, like the way Turkey is. Okay. I mean, yeah, Turkey has Erdogan now, but a lot of Turks are actually very Western oriented people. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I will be back tomorrow with more breaking news, and I might be broadcasting the Russian Victory Day parade live. That's going to be, I believe, on Thursday. I'm going to try to broadcast it live. Sometimes it's hard to get a live feed from Russia, so I'll see if I can broadcast it live. If I can, I'll let you know. Make sure you have your notifications set up. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I do go live. For that and for any other emergency news, I always go live. So if you have notifications set up, you should get notified. Sometimes people don't get notified. And I want to also mention that I am no longer on Twitter. Twitter suspended my account for unknown reasons. They have not given me any explanation why. I've never had any issues there. I hardly ever interact with people on Twitter. The only thing I ever used Twitter for was to post my video updates there. So I don't know if maybe they didn't like that I was posting my videos there and redirecting people away from Twitter to my channel. I have no idea. But I am posting my updates now onto Telegram. So you can always check my Telegram for the latest updates. You can also go to my website, NYPrepper.com. I automatically transfer my videos onto my website. So Sometimes it takes a few hours for those videos to update on my website, but I always have my latest videos from the last couple of days on my website, NYPrepper.com. And my Telegram channel is NYPrepper1. It's just t.me/NYPrepper1. And I will leave a link to my Telegram in the comments down below. And I will also be using Telegram to share things that I cannot share here on this platform. So until tomorrow, have a good night. Take care. God bless. And don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.